Now, there's no rider in that preview.
No,
I will say
that's not gonna.
He's
happen.
not.
That's
He's
not
pulling
happening.
a Kiriko, which is going to be so sweet to see.
He's gonna pull a Kiriko. Yeah.
It's going to be so funny.
That's gonna be Queen Bee.
That's definitely Queen. That's like inarguably.
That's
Hannah's
not
belt.
even. This isn't even theory crafting. That's just it as what's happening.
Yeah, no. Like, what else possibly? It's
What
Bee
the
design.
fuck?
They just gave him the O stamp just to fucking the one effort of misdirect. What if it was a weird stamp?
What if we did the funniest thing possible, which is do a fake out of fucking a man using a driver.
Honestly,
I'm gonna make a YouTube video. You know that fucking video that's like fucking Kamen Rider women fail supercut or whatever? I'm gonna do that.
Just do that for guys.
It's just him.
Just for Tamaki.
Just for Tamaki.
I guess you could put in like the 2 times Keitaro tried to use the Kaiser belt as well.
I don't remember that.
It was in the movie, and he tried it twice before it worked.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you get 2. He's in like fucking hallowed halls there with comparisons to fucking Keitaro.
Two of the best male female characters ever.
Genuinely heroin coded men.
2 of the best. No, that's not the right. I don't want to play it on web player. I want to play it on here. 2 of the best. Wow, that's really loud. Sorry. 2 of the best male female characters ever. 2 of the only male female characters.
Yeah, in fact. I can't believe we got over demons for 1 second, and surprising nobody, it fucking sucks. But you know what? At least they didn't make us look at it for long. So,
and hopefully they'll never make us look at it again.
Imagine if it's exactly like the Veil suit and it shows up 1 time in the show.
I hate. I cannot stand the idea of Hikaru being a Kamen Rider.
Genuinely.
I cannot fucking stand the idea of it.
Just absolutely painful stuff.
Nothing.
To think about.
He's nothing.
He's the least of anything.
I would rather have Tamaki do it.
Yeah, he's at least been like a presence in the show. I didn't know Hikaru was his name until today. Like, I'm not great with names of characters who don't fucking matter, is why I didn't remember it. Oh my goodness.
What an insane show. So many things happened, and yet there's not like nothing happened in everything. Like, things actually happened in that episode.
But like, somehow it felt exactly the same.
Every episode of Revice has the same emotional response at this point.
Just pure fucking mania. His finisher did also just let him run away. Oh, that's fucking funny.
Shinpei was also a female-coded character.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
List of the best female-coded male characters. Oh boy.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. The director is genuinely the funniest character that's been in this fucking franchise.
It's been in this franchise
years.
Ever.
Yeah, ever, in fact. No one is as funny as this guy.
Dude wants to be a foal, but more.
I don't know how you would gauge it on that. It's clearly aiming on that scale, but it's like past the point where you should sensibly turn it up any further.
Yeah. See, Rob, that's what I'm saying though, because it's like, yeah, we should rejoice there's a man in Modern Rider who doesn't henshin. That's why I don't want fucking Hikaru to be a writer, because he sucks and he doesn't deserve it.
I mean, I'm kind of fine with him using the Demon's Driver because that thing has already been roundly shown to suck and not matter. Which is really funny for how good of a
Daiji is literally going to clock into work next week.
He's fucking gonna get a boat out there.
He's literally gonna clock into work and be evil or whatever.
Like, to be honest, I do kind of like the idea of him being so fucking dementedly driven by the idea of righteousness that he'll get fucking played into doing blatantly evil stuff. That's quite fun. I like that as character writing. I'm glad that all he had to do was kill half of his fucking personality to have a character.
Yeah, it is basically just a utility thing. Yeah, it is Shin Megami Tensei. Like, I hope Daiji dies. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I feel like at this I don't know how you fix him at this point.
Kagero comes back.
Bring back his demon. He kind of, like, they kind of just let him kill his inner demon and didn't really, like, question the potential ramifications of that.
Yeah, nobody was like, by the way, that's a bad idea. Like,
you probably shouldn't do that.
Now we know. You can't do that. So if the rules are, if you die, your demon dies with you, and also if you kill your inner demon, you go insane.
You go out of your mind. In some way. I mean, I think it was worse for Daiji because it was mostly like a split between very uninteresting good guy and very transparent evil guy.
I mean, Daiji just has as a person, as a human being, has so many fucking problems. Yeah, no, Daiji won't actually die. Nobody in the family would die. That is probably a little too dark for this show. Well, like, Kagero represented Daiji's, what was it, like, hatred towards his resentment towards his family, but I don't really remember why he had resentment towards his family, come to think of it. It was more like his resentment specifically against Iki.
Yeah.
For being slightly more interesting than him.
Yeah.
Not the thing is that arc came so early in the show that neither character had anything going for them that I don't really remember why he was so I don't know why he was so resentful towards his brother. I mean, jealous of what? Like,
I guess Iki was kind of the more popular child, but
Daiji was supposed to be Vice, but he pussied out. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a source of resentment.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then George handed him the fucking evil driver. It was like, hey, bro.
Hey, put this on. Hoy. Yay. What incredible idea.
And then Daiji's sort of entire deal, it's actually been pretty consistent. His entire deal is just like, I need to be the good guy. I need to be like morally righteous and like a hero and shit. Which is something that really, honestly, nobody else in the show is that particularly concerned about, other than fucking Hiromi, and that killed him. Like, Sakura and Iki aren't really all that interested in like playing the hero. Like, they do what they do mostly for personal reasons, and because it's like it is also the right thing to do. But like, Sakura has her own reasons for being John, and Iki has his own reasons for being Revice. So it's consistent that, like, with no like mental block in there, that Daiji would just become increasingly obsessed with like being the hero or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, obviously his fucking obsessive desire to like fix Phoenix or whatever. Like, it all tracks. It all tracks. It's good. It's actually good writing.
It is.
For the most boring ass character in the show. Not anymore though.
Yeah, now he's like, he's not he can't be the funniest while the director's there, but like he's close. Because there is something so fucking funny about a man acting as if things are not so fucked up. The fact he has continued to go to work alone makes him so fucking funny.
This might be the only time that I've ever enjoyed in Kamen Rider a, like, quote-unquote corruption arc or whatever. Usually George continue to go to work is also funny. Yeah, George is no loss, though.
It's true. He don't give a fuck.
Like, if you think back to, like, Drive or whatever, like, Go's descent into, I don't know, being a racist cunt, was, like, really painful and lame to watch. Mostly because he was just entirely unenjoyable during it. But Daiji's just, like, routine insistence on making the worst possible choices, and that, assumingly, pulling him down the gutter into fucking, being evil is hilarious and also thematically relevant somehow. And X-A was, oh fuck, do you remember that? In X-A when Hero just fucking turned coat for like 5 episodes because Masamune threatened him with his dead girlfriend.
Oh my god, that was genuinely some of the hardest shit to watch in all of X-Aid.
That was maybe the worst.
Dreadful couple of weeks that was.
That was such a bad arc.
That was so... I don't think I've ever felt worse for an actress in any Toku thing than the lady playing Hiromi's dead girlfriend who had to clock in every day and say the same line
15 times
over and
per
over
scene.
again. Unfucking bearable stuff.
Total fun.
Oh my god, that was right. He did try and fucking blackmail him into killing someone during Surge.
I don't even remember that, to be honest.
Oh, Masamune.
Did that arc come before or after Kiryu revived?
Just before.
Because that was when the show started getting watchable.
Yeah, funny enough. It was like exactly the same time, I think. Because that was one of the things I think Hiro was like, well, how do I know this isn't just a fucking illusion of my dead girlfriend? And Masamune was like, I know.
Fuck yourself.
I know how I can prove I can actually bring people back from the dead. What if I brought back...
the funniest motherfucker in the world.
What if I brought back the only other man who's still dead?
Okay, I don't think Kanon was a good character. I really genuinely don't know how you could come to the conclusion that Kanon had a worse time of it than the actress who was hired to say one fucking line and just be fucking man-pain bait. Like,
and then die.
And then
again.
die. And then die again in another movie. I genuinely can't. That is like the rockest of rock bottom to me.
Truly just agony.
Oh, I thought you meant marginally beats it. I thought you meant worse. I thought you meant it beats it worse. Okay, we're on the same page then. I was like, how could you possibly... I mean, I don't know. Maybe she probably said it once and it's just loop footage, but like...
I don't know if it was, though.
I don't know if it was or wasn't.
Like, from... It's a long time ago, but I don't remember it, like, having any kind of looping look going on whenever she was... At least when she was on screen, I think they really had her saying it. Presumably they did loop it when she was
off. Not to give Kiva any credit whatsoever, but
it is literally possible to do worse than that, I think.
It is literally... I literally think that no matter what happened to any female character in Kiva, at least most of them actually got to be characters to some extent.
I don't know what you could... Like, what you could realistically do on a show like this that would be worse than just... Like, in the flashback, she was nothing. She was there just to tell the most fucking boring, unlikable dickhead in a cast full of boring, unlikable dickheads to become the world's best doctor, which he didn't fucking do, by
Which
the way.
he didn't fucking do.
He never did that. So he failed her dying wish. And then he fucking decided, actually, I don't want to be evil for the sake of maybe reviving my dead girlfriend, who I was a dickhead to when she was alive. So now she gets deleted again.
And then they brought her back in the movie
again.
and deleted her again.
Again. So
and cucked him.
And cucked him with
love.
X-Aid was maybe
the worst.
Maybe I think it was. I don't think.
In terms of treatment of women, I genuinely think X-Aid is the rockets to bottom for the franchise. I mean, that is like overall in terms. You could argue that Kiva did it worse, but Rob is right. Most of the women in Kiva were people. Also, Beyond Generations is on Sunday. That's right. We're watching it on Sunday. Yeah. None of the women in X-Aid were people to literally any degree.
Yeah.
Even so far as the fact that Nico, who barely was able to eke out a memorable character, was intentionally fucking sabotaged by the narrative of Brave Snipe.
Absolutely hateful. Pain. The multiple times when Nico had a moment, and
everything.
I only remember twice, but Masamune came in and was like, "No, we're not doing that. This fight's cancelled." And then she gets to the end of her arc, and Tiger comes in and is like, "No, I'm doing this fight."
Rips the Gashat out of her actual hand. Like, for everybody who maybe doesn't remember or didn't watch, Nico at the end of like the Kamen Rider Chronicle arc, well, not exactly the end, like won the Kamen Rider Chronicle game and the right to be Chronicle, right? And then
to actually fight him one-on-one.
And then Taiga fucking like just shows up out of nowhere, physically takes the thing out of her hand and loses the fight. The audacity of him to upstage a fucking female character who was about to challenge the final boss that she'd earned the right to do so, and have the absolute fucking audacity to get his ass squarely beat.
Completely kicked.
One of the worst moments of all 50 plus years of the genre.
Truly.
The whole genre. All of it.
Like, it was just all stuff. There were like 3 women in that show, and all of it was like that.
2.5.
You know, I never saw Brave Snipe.
2 1/10. Yeah, you don't have to. There's literally nothing. There's nothing salvageable about that movie in any respect whatsoever.
Never heard one thing. It's the only one of that trilogy I never saw.
There's nothing.
There's
nothing salvageable about that movie.
Unbelievable. How bad?
Unless you like Taiga enough. Unless you like Taiga enough to care about the one scene where he becomes Kronos and actually wins a fucking fight.
For once.
Everyone in X-Aid she contributed to those fights. She didn't win all those fights single-handedly, but she did contribute to those fights. Like, it will literally ruin Taiga and me. I don't have to. That movie doesn't have to. I don't have to watch that movie to ruin Taiga because I already fucking hate him.
Taiga's only any fun in like the early bits where it's him and Kiria just causing people problems.
Like literally, like, did Pirate have an arc? Was he a plot device?
He did have an arc.
He did have an arc. His arc was Emu forcing him to realize that murder is bad by murdering him.
Yeah. Put the fucking fear of death into him.
That's not actually fair. But he had one of the only like actual arcs in that show where he, like, that's an oversimplification because like when Kronos showed up and actually killed a Bugstar like permanently, except not because that fucking character comes back anyway.
Twice, is Power actually starts to feel like the fear of fucking death, which causes his like quote unquote reformation to be on the good guy side. like it's one of the few cause and effect arcs in the whole thing where like you understand why he has had a change of feelings, because in the episode immediately following Lovelica's death, he's like, hey Graphite, I'm kind of freaking the fuck out.
Graphite's like, shut up, I'm not a character.
What? Who? Me?
Yeah. Me?
You're fucked up if you're talking to me.
You're talking to me?
Imagine.
Not that I really care much about Paradox, but like the consistency of his character being like that he doesn't treat anything seriously because to him it's a game, because like he can't die or like feel pain or like whatever.
Yeah.
And then when he finds out he can die, he starts to realize like he starts to become scared of death, and then Emu latches onto that and makes him like feel that full force to make him understand that when he kills people, it's also bad.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know if Paradox ever really killed anybody. I don't really remember or care.
Did.
I mean, he was party to it.
Yeah.
He certainly didn't care. He was party to it when Kuroto did it, and he was party to it with Chronicle too.
That was the start of them killing and then reviving bugster characters by just having someone put their hand in the fucking particle effect that happens when they die, and then being like, yeah, I absorbed the virus.
Mm-hmm.
They did that like at least fucking... They did that with Poppy again, at least.
I don't want to hear
And Parrot again, actually, at the end.
Mm-hmm. What
a program. What an incredible
program. I literally would think that Parrot has the only genuine arc in the show.
Yeah, he kind of does.
The best scene was Kiria killing Kuroto for 5 hours.
Actually, that was really
actually pretty good.
That was very
genuinely engaging television.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, do you know how last week I was talking about how like there's characters who are like officially the secondary who aren't like thematically?
Yeah.
Brave is not the secondary thematically, it's Paradox.
No. Yeah, for sure.
Because he actually has a relationship with the main character and has an actual narrative arc.
Yeah.
Really, like
Hero.
Brave and Snipe are like the duo tertiary writer.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But like,
if Kiria had been in the show more, he probably would have been the secondary.
If Kiria had been in the show more, the show would have ended faster.
Yeah.
And also would have been good.
They had to kill him because otherwise he would have solved everybody's problems.
Everything the show struggled to build up with Nico being like a respectable character was utterly destroyed by Brave Snipe. Poppy never had a chance.
Never at all.
Hero's girlfriend is nothing. Like literally, as we discussed. Poppy. The only thing that Poppy got was them having Kuroto project his fucking mommy issues onto her.
Oh god, yeah.
And me desperately trying to pretend that didn't happen. Have I seen Gen Muso? Absolutely not. And no. I never will.
No.
Thank you for asking. I don't keep up with the fucking Kuroto Dan extended universe, the cinematic universe of Kuroto Dan, where he keeps showing up every 5 fucking years. Not even like.
I cannot imagine something I would want to see less than a special than any special, because there's more than one now.
Yeah.
About fucking Dan Kuroto and Amatsu Gai, my two most hated men in all the world.
From my 2 favorite shows. We haven't been watching Veil on here.
No.
Because I still have not been assured of its quality, 1. And 2, I'm worried that it's too... Well, this really goes hand in hand with the quality. I'm worried that it's too graphic.
Rob, why would you watch that?
Watch a Solo Bowser special. Maybe I'll watch Veil. Maybe we'll do Veil on here when it comes out. I want to wait till it's over so I can have I really don't like with V-Sins that are like quote unquote adult oriented. we took a fucking risk with Revice Mystery. Like we took a fucking hard risk.
We really did actually
on that, and it paid off tremendously. Huge payout for that.
But
ever since like the late 2010s trend of just like really gory, graphic, badly written V-Sins or a web series or whatever they're called, I don't trust like that, and so I didn't want to commit to Veil and then like have it just blow super fucking hard like Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Where the first episode was like pretty okay, and then the last two were just like essentially PG-13 Saw.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know, they have like the fucking shot of like Rogue in his suit like dripping with blood, and I'm like, come the fuck on. And it's like the thing about that is that like I don't know, those were DVD specials, I think, which is so radically inappropriate. But like, this is the same character that like when those were like a few weeks after those were like released or watchable or whatever, literally they had Homeboy in a fucking like the stupid outfits is what I'm getting at. Like the dumbass shirts and the fucking goofy outfits, and the fucking scene where he's like in his fucking underwear on a bed in like a basement, and they're like, if he doesn't get 8 hours of sleep every day, he'll die.
Oh.
You cannot expect me to take like him like dripping with the blood of innocent men that he murdered and expect me to take that fucking seriously. In any regards when I know where the arc of the character is going.
Yeah.
You know? Which is, I think, really the only major misstep of well, maybe not the only, like, it's arguably a major misstep of Build, which is just that this is the same thing that happens with Grease, is once Grease and Rogue stop being relevant antagonists, they just sort of become ineffectual joke characters. Grease fights his way back to being a relevant, like, serious character at the end.
Yeah, he gets that back in the last couple of episodes.
And like, Rogue's, like, last scene of his death was really good, but he didn't really have that same fight back to get, like, be taken seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Dragon Ball thing, where like once the antagonist is over, we don't kill the antagonist. They just become a goofy asshole. You know, it's literally like the same thing as like, you know, like Vegeta or whatever. But it I don't know. I get why it was done, but it feels like sort of a narrative misstep of the character. The t-shirt gag came from Kentoku's actor asking the writers to make him funnier. Okay, well, I guess that's funny then.
I really like that.
Fucking actually. Legend. Those like O's where some of the other writers are a bit you're here for the main guys anyway. Yeah, it's like O's in those things that you said.
Yeah, it's like O's if O's had more than 2 writers.
It's like O's if O's
I know what you mean, but like I understand the analogy you're making there, but also there were 3 at most guys.
I don't know what you're talking about because I was always there for the birth. I do remember the drive. I don't actually remember the Drive V-Sin because I didn't watch it because it fucking sucked.
Why would anyone watch additional Drive content?
Why would
I watch?
I
do know that scene.
I've never seen it. I know that the Chaser Rhino special was like too gory and like made no sense.
It's also ugly.
It's also ugly. It's also ugly.
What were we talking about? I don't know. We were talking about women at some point.
I was talking about how I don't trust Veil.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, me neither.
But apparently, I haven't heard any bad opinions about it.
No, but
I'm really not that interested. Like, I'll watch it at some point. I don't know if I'll stream it. I'm not super interested about it. I've soon definitely lost my taste for like auxiliary writer content at this point, just because the last like we've been saying, the last couple of years have been rough.
It's not been a good idea to keep up.
I mean, 90% of the backstory of the characters of Saber were all put into those
Oh my
pieces.
god, that's right. I didn't remember that because I didn't watch.
I didn't watch them either.
Watch Saber. I forgot about that. Thank fucking god I didn't. That would have been agony.
It's a surprise that Mystery is good. It literally was. It literally was a shock to me.
I really had no
Mystery was
business
good.
being as good as it was, but it was so funny.
Vale hasn't done anything with Gaslight and Rice anyway. Yeah, Vale's not. Vale talks a big game, but he really actually doesn't. You know, like in today's episode, he was like, I'll beat all of them to death, or whatever. But all he did was just harass Vice.
Yeah.
The second that he appears on scene, he just starts harassing Vice.
He kind of hasn't done anything. Like, he burnt down their home is the worst he's done, and otherwise he was just there in Gento when he was killing demons.
It sucks because it sucks for him. Yeah, he will get to do shit next week. It seems like next week will be maybe his time.
Right.
It sucks because, like, in other circumstances, he would be like the antagonist right now.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
He's literally auxiliary to the real antagonist of the show right now, and so has nothing to do other than just sort of be a goon. Like right now, he's basically just feeling the role of like a high-level enforcer that they can't.
The voice sells him a lot.
The voice sells him a lot, and maybe this episode he'll get to do some more stuff.
Yeah, he'd be a lot lamer if he wasn't voiced by that guy.
It seems like this next week and maybe the week after probably will be some like cool down between like whatever, like everything that just happened today and like the next, probably the, like I would wager that the next two episodes will have either minimal setup or nothing really about Daiji, as we sort of like take a moment to like space that out, and then he'll show up in like 2 weeks as like an antagonist or something. I mean, what are we on, 35 now?
Yeah, I think next week's 36.
Yeah, so we are getting, I mean, presumably getting final form some fucking time soon. Like in the early 40s, or unless we're pushing it all the way back to like fucking 45 again.
Never know.
Agumon, I could not possibly disagree with you any less on those issues. I think that the plot is going in a great place, and I think that fucking the Geistman is carrying this show on his back right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's great. I think especially this week in the way that he, like, literally just played them. Like, not that it was hard, but, like...
Yeah, the fact... It's fun to have a villain who, like, does stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally... I think it's the problem comes with the fact that the siblings' connection to the plot at the minute is entirely through Daiji, and Daiji is a fucking idiot right now.
Yeah.
Daiji is suffering from, like, soul damage, so he's not thinking right. So he's just completely playing into old Geisty's hands at every opportunity. The Geistman.
I mean, I say this every week, but I can see why Revice doesn't resonate with some people, but it's doing fucking wonders for me.
Yeah, honestly, although I was thinking earlier, it was like, I am very much like, I'm skating along at a fine pace, but I'm very much on the surface of this show.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like touching my heart and soul like Build or whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't feel him as imposing villains. Seems like he's fucking around. I mean, it's just a mileage of everything. I'm not scared of him or anything. I think he's funny. No, but that's all I'm really asking for. Honestly, is that he's amusing.
He's engaging.
Yeah,
certainly.
I would like not like every single time because it would get repetitive, but anything would get repetitive every single time. Like,
yeah.
there's sometimes where I literally would just rather have a villain who's just goofing the fuck around than just some, like, you know, shadowy dark figure that has a gravelly voice and, like, isn't actually doing anything, you know?
Or Storius.
Storius was nothing. Don't even talk to me. And what was his deal?
I don't even know.
Rob's
but
gonna tell me.
Rob will know. All I know about Storius is that from somewhere around the point, like just after Solomon was introduced, we were all like, right, so this guy is definitely not actually the big villain.
And then he died like 2 episodes later.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so who is going to be the final villain? And we all sort of looked and were like, oh yeah,
it has to be
they
Storius.
never killed Storius, did they?
Yeah.
They killed the other two, though. Well, that kind of rules out anyone else.
It's the same reason that we all called that, what's his name? I've already forgotten. The other dead man's?
Oh my god, Olteka.
Olteka, I already don't care enough to remember his name. It's the same reason that we all were able to correctly call that Olteka was going to die when he did. Because it's like, he's like, my final plane is coming right now, and it's like episode 26, and you're like, no. I don't fucking think so, man. If you make moves, if you make too hard of a move too fast, it's like you're not winning.
Yeah, the fucking plot will come right down.
It's the same reason why fucking when Solomon started making moves in like the 30s or whatever, it's like,
no, I'll destroy the whole world.
No. You are
not. He did.
You are not living through this.
He did revive Gift.
I mean, he did do that. He was just like the messenger.
Yeah.
Olteka is the only dead man to die. I mean, fuck him.
Really. Except for those two other fuckheads.
What? Oh, fuck those guys.
You remember those guys?
No. The
guy who was like the leader of a cult for like a minute and then just went to fucking goofing around with Sakura before he died.
That guy and the lawyer guy and the chameleon.
Those guys were so funny.
Hey Bunny, we are done with Eps, unfortunately. We did those guys were funny, is the thing. Those guys were the first indication of the tone of the rest of the show, in my opinion. Like, they came at around, like, they started being active right at around the time when, like, Revice started to shift towards being a good show. And them just being unhinged fucking nut jobs, and also dying, was awesome.
The chameleon guy's big reveal that he was actually, that like the commander had been dead since episode 1.
Fucking funny.
I think that was like the first Hiromi moment.
That was the biggest Hiromi moment, honestly. And it was all essentially
incredible.
It was essentially meaningless because Phoenix was corrupt anyway.
Was always corrupt.
Heading off. Thank you so much for staying with us. Have a good rest of your day. Like, I guess they killed that guy because he was like one of the 4 people in that organization that wasn't corrupt. I don't even know. Like, they've never really answered like how, like, they know how high does the corruption go all the way to the top. How down does it go?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna assume 0. Actually, I literally am gonna think that it was just the director and George until they retconned that.
Yeah,
because he did just sort of kill everyone.
Yeah, it kind of did.
He kind of sort of killed every single person who worked for that organization except George and Hiromi. I mean, George and Daiji. Well, Hiromi, I guess now also.
Yeah. But
what if he doesn't come back? Like, no more Gaga has been released. Like, what if he just doesn't come back?
He's just not in the show.
That'd be funny. Gaga's a Blu-ray special this time, so yeah, it comes up in those two. And that's what I'm like. That's what I'm getting at. Is like the span of time between those releases is going to be so massive that there's literally no room for Hiromi to come back into the plot, like at all, ever.
Yeah, there's. If
he's
he
not coming back.
There'd be no room for him even if he did. He's so beyond irrelevant.
There's no room for him to come back, and there's no space for him to come back because there's supposed to be I don't know how many episodes of Dear Gaga. 4? Did I just make that up? Probably.
Maybe 3.
But like,
in any event,
he's locked in. He's locked in that space until past ones in Project 1000 Rogue, they weren't relevant. See, but that's what I mean, because both of those things, that's the problem, is that Project 1000 and Rogue were both prequels. Both of those Blu-ray specials make no impact on the plot because they're literally pre-content stuff. But Dear Gaga is happening concurrently. Like, the first episode of it is literally Iki and Daiji going to his house to confirm that he's alive. Currently. Like, he walked off of the show and went into this thing, but if it's a 3-parter, if it is a 3-parter, the third won't come back until after Revice ends. That means that he's out of the show forever, even if he's not dead.
Yeah,
right?
They couldn't. Like, it would be the most fucked up thing possible to bring him back into the show before the thing that he's doing while he's not in the show is finished.
Yeah, because then you would have to explain. You'd have to explain how he. It's only 2 parts, but still, like.
If it's the Blu-ray, then still
it's still going to be a long ass time until he comes back, and it's going to be a hard sell narratively to be like, hey, by the way, did you watch these things on the Blu-ray? Because that's the only way to know why this character isn't actually dead. It's like they've locked him away in this other thing. It's unprecedented.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, they had a clip show episode, and
but like
that episode was dedicated to them making a memorial for the band because they thought he was dead. Right? Oh no, it was that's right. The clip show was them to bring his memories back. Fuck.
But like they never did. Oh my god, the egg.
Hey, live egg reaction.
Oh my god, I hadn't seen that.
It would be unprecedented and really clunky to do it. If they do it, they do it. Like, if they were planning to bring the character back in the show, they probably wouldn't have committed him to this side project thing. I'm sure that they'll bring him back post-content and give him a V-Sin.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that'll
For
definitely
sure.
happen.
Yeah, because he was very popular.
But I feel like it could easily be that he just never comes back in the show. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's room for him.
I don't know.
Hiromi demands so much attention as a character that putting him into the plot would cause everything to come to a dead halt at this point.
Yeah, you couldn't just throw him back in for nothing.
You can't just show up and be like, hey, by the way, I was lying about my memory loss, and I'm back. Can I have my driver back now? Like,
you know, I forgot about Olteka so hard that I forgot he was demons at one point.
Do you remember when he had the fucking audacity to be like, I'm the real Kamen Rider Demons is here now?
Yeah,
and that was a complete fake out. That was actually really fucking funny. It was really funny to do that. Because even like the preview for the next episode when he used the driver was like, the real Demons is here.
Yeah.
Like, this is the true user of Kamen Rider Demons. There will be no other Kamen Rider Demons after this.
And then
like 4 or 5 episodes later, he died.
Olteka, you useless buffoon.
He was meant to die from the start, but that's irrelevant at this point. Like,
yeah, he was
we're
too much of a
we're so far past that concept.
That version of the show
is no longer existing.
Is gone. It never happened.
It never happened. I'm trying to find the episode where he becomes demons.
He really did love to use that fucking batter scorpion combo though. Nasty motherfucker.
Episode 21.
When he brought out the fucking Anomalocalis stamp. No one else got to use that. Anomalocalis.
The alternate version where Revice died would be like worse. Or the alternate version where Hiromi died would be like worse.
It would. We needed Hiromi to be there, being the world's most fucking upset
He carried the first half of the show. Nobody would have watched if it weren't for him.
No fucking way. We wouldn't have enjoyed it.
No.
If he hadn't been there.
He carried the first half of the show, and then he died, passing on that to everybody else, mostly Daichi.
He mostly Daichi, but he fucking. His spores of being a fucking entertaining character passed on to the rest of the cast.
Yeah. He carried that show on his back. When it did not deserve it. Like,
no.
It's like the fucking...
Christ on the cross.
It's Christ on the cross. It's that fucking Christian metaphor where you walk in the sand with Jesus and you look at your life, and do you know what I'm talking about? If I had to explain this Christian metaphor to you, and you look back at the parts of the sand and you say, Jesus, how come sometimes there's only one, during the hardest parts of my life, why is there only one set of footsteps? Did you leave me? Did you abandon me during those times? And Jesus says, no, I carried you. That's Hiromi to Revice.
Oh, I'm always thinking about that time when he fucking stops Daichi running into a fight to be like, I was bullied as a child. That's why I want to be Kamen Rider.
I love that scene so much because it really looks like Daichi's actor wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, it's like so genuine. Like, what?
Like he literally like stops and turns around. He's like, huh?
What?
Like I'm surprised they didn't have him glance at the fucking director and be like, are we on script right now?
Is this? Are we supposed to?
The best part of that is, of course, is what it's like the microsecond that he finishes speaking, he starts his henshin, and Daiji's like, wait.
I wasn't ready. Like they were gonna do a synced up thing, and he like has to fucking fumble the stamp.
He like genuinely like fumbles the fucking motion to do it.
And that's the first fight that Demons got chumped.
Yeah, and that was when he started spilling spaghetti.
That was the first time it happened after all that shit.
And then we're like, oh no. And then it was all downhill from there.
Oh, it never
The thing about Hiromi is the second that he started being like a character, he stopped being a good combatant. Like he couldn't have both.
Immediate. Also, we're watching Beyond Generations this weekend.
Yes, we're watching that on Sunday. Bunny, we're watching it on Sunday. Like, you can't have both. Yeah, no, that's actually maybe my favorite Hiromi scene is when he fucking yells at Victory. And it's like, I am your fucking superior, you will not speak to me like that, and it just falls over dead.
Oh god, I forgot about that. That's so...
do not fucking yell at me, and then just dies instantly.
I'm your commander, you can't...
You cannot fucking speak to me like that, and then he died. And then he died.
You could kind of feel it coming as well. Like there wasn't really anything to show. He wasn't swaying, but yeah, it was like just framed enough to like the right of him that you were like, "Hey, you don't suppose?"
Boom! Face down on the fucking floor.
Oh,
best.
So funny. That really,
literally the best.
I was
show.
so confused when you said Victory though, because I forgot.
That's the only. It was Victory and fucking. Sango.
That's Tsukasa.
It was a fucking Rider and Ultraman and the Sentai.
They were so fucking funny.
So funny for that.
That had to be on purpose.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know why those actors would have been around.
Didn't they get what's his? I genuinely don't know his name from X to be in the Veil thing.
Oh, I wouldn't know. Actually, I know why. Oh no, I don't. I was gonna say I know why Sakura's or why Tsukasa's around, but I was wrong. I was like, maybe she's filming one of the like Beyond whatever generations or shit, but she wasn't in that. I don't know why those actors were around. Maybe they just called them. Maybe they auditioned for the parts.
Man, I'd love to be that.
I'd love to do that in one episode. Do you know that fucking Ultraman Ginga was in one episode of X-Aid?
Was
the
he?
actor, yeah, the actor for Hikaru was in.
What episode was it?
Oh, it was like Laser's debut.
Oh fuck me! Okay.
He was like the Bugstar victim of that episode. He was like the victim of that episode or whatever.
Right. Jesus.
Kaoru was in that show? I don't remember that. That's fucked.
It's so fucked up when whenever Ultra actors show up in anything by Toei.
Yeah.
You're not allowed
you can't
to
be here. You're not allowed to be here.
When fucking Dinah's actor was talking about doing the
freak.
What was it he did the theme for?
Zenkaiger.
Zenkaiger, that's right. I wanted to say it, but I wasn't sure. When he was like on stage talking about it, and he just mentioned Ultraman Dinah, and we were like, "Hey, you can't possibly be fucking talking about that."
He knew about Decker. He was trying to warn us. He was trying to fucking warn us. He was trying to get us.
Yeah, Rob.
You having a laugh?
Rob, who is it in Vale?
It's someone just said it was X or something. Did you say?
Yeah, I said that, but I don't remember his name. Like the man himself, I believe.
I don't know. I haven't really. I have so many like George's dad. Daichi?
Yeah.
Is he old enough to be someone's dad now?
It's in the past though.
Still.
So.
What is that guy? I guess X was a while ago.
Yeah. So it's like when they were younger.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that Orb was the final villain. Thank you for the fucking meme and stream talk, by the way. I remember that because his acting was terrible. His character sucked. Minion and Ghost, Jesus.
Oh my god, he was, wasn't he?
What a power trio.
That's crazy.
Nobody remembers Orb's actor being a ghost because his acting was terrible, and the character. I mean, I wouldn't be able to act with I don't know if anybody could act to that character because it was just such a shitty character. It was such a half-assed antagonist that they were like, by the way, Kobayashi, are you gonna write a fucking antagonist for this show? And she's like, I wasn't planning on it. And they're like, maybe you should write a fucking antagonist for this show.
Maybe you should write plot.
And she was like, whatever, here's this guy, fuck yourself. I don't write this shows to be coherent. Weird to say Vice is more of a main character than Iki. I mean, it's not, because we've gone back and forth on that for a while. Vice just has more presence than Iki.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Iki continues to not really be... Well, I don't want to say he's not anything, but he's not anything definite.
He definitely just isn't. I mean, it's good to have. I'm not saying that they all have to be the same. It's good to have deviations in your protagonist, but he really isn't normal Toei protagonist material.
Yeah.
At all.
They love to pretend he's hot-headed.
Yeah, they really do.
They love to lie and say
they love to say things about the character but not show us. And he's like, Daichi, you've always been the level-headed one, and I've always been the hot-headed guy who rushes off and gets into trouble. And it's like, when has that ever happened? Because Daichi has always been the one to rush off and get his ass beat.
The man cannot. Admittedly, it's because he's suffering from fucking demon damage.
Even before that,
yeah, even before that, but especially lately, he's fucking rushing everywhere.
Yeah, in the earlier days of him just being live, he was usually the guy to rush off into stuff, or actually he would just sort of show up because that was about the time where the story would just sort of forget about Daiji.
Yeah.
And he would just show up and just fight some goons or whatever. There's this idea of them being a sort of balancing act between Iki's hot-headed nature and Daiji's cool intellectualism. It's just pure fantasy. That's not how the characters interact, and it's never been the case in the show. I guess they can just say that kind of thing because you can, like, you also have to, like, they have 20 years of, like, family history to pull out of, whatever. But it's just not sure. It's just not sure in the, it just doesn't come through in the actual show. Like, it's a lot of, with Iki especially, it's a lot of tell, not show, which is never good.
Yeah.
About him being, I still don't think they really ever managed to pull through this idea about him being, like, a self-centered egoist who, like, butts into other people's problems because it, like, serves his ego. Because it's just like, they didn't do enough to differentiate him from any other protagonist in any other, like, shonen or toku that does the same thing, because that's just how protagonists in this genre operate. You know? Like, you have to take out of the accountability, like, just, like, by and large, like shonen protagonists are not operating on the same rules that normal people operate on, because normal people aren't interesting. You know, like, of course the Red Ranger is going to be, or whatever, right? Is, like, going to be getting into other people's problems and, like, going out of his way to, like, interact with others, or, like, make their issues his issues, because that's how the fucking genre works. Like, this show would be interesting if the fucking main character was, like, a recluse and kept to himself. Wait, that's Kiva.
Oh, fuck, that is...
But Kiva worked around that, because Kiva brought the plot to him, whether he liked it or not.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, if the protagonist of these kinds of shows is just a normal-ass guy who just minds his own fucking business, one, that's not a quality that a hero should have. Like, it's just not, like... And so, like, them and Iki doing the bare minimum, like, normal main writer stuff, and then being like, you're an egomaniac for butting into other people's problems and wanting to help them. But it's like, but you could say that about every protagonist in the 50-year fucking... Almost every, you know, with some exceptions. Like, you could say that about almost every protagonist in every Toei show ever made, because that's how protagonists work.
Yeah.
They didn't really do enough to distinguish Iki as being especially notable of being called an egoist or whatever. Like, you could way more easily call Tendo, and you could just, like, yeah, like Agumon is saying.
Yeah.
Haruto was pretty humble. He was also pretty full of himself simultaneously.
Yeah.
He did mind his own fucking business, actually. He wanted to be left the fuck alone.
He had some shit going on, that guy.
He's like, leave me the fuck alone.
Please.
But again, that worked. The show worked with that, because, like, a lot of the jokes and, like, the humor of that show came from, like, Shunpei and Beast constantly bothering him when he didn't want to be bothered. Like, a lot of the early stuff with Haruto and Kosuke Nito, what am I calling him? Fuck Beast, you know, Beast.
Yeah.
Was that, like, they kept running into each other when they didn't, like, want to see each other.
Yeah.
Because their jobs had them crossing paths of being, you know, a fucking common writer. And
I love how those two are.
That's where a lot of the fucking humor in the early parts of their relationship come from, and a lot of, like, them actually developing a relationship was, like, that they were forced to interact with each other despite not wanting to. Like, yeah, like, Iki is no different. Like, they fail to differentiate him from anybody, really. Like, any common writer could fill that slot. It's funny, though, because, like, actually Sento did the, like, ego thing a lot better, and he would call himself, like, egotistical.
Yeah. Because
he did think, like, a lot of the things that he did, well, actually, it was a front, you know, but, like, a lot of the things he did were surface level, like, concerned with himself or, like, for his own interests.
Yeah.
Even though that's not really how he was operating.
No, but he liked to pretend.
He likes to pretend that he was egotistical.
But
and he did have a high opinion of himself. But if we start talking about Sento, we'll be here for hours.
Yeah.
Like,
the only character, actually.
So, like, yeah, like, I think instead of the egotist thing, they should have focused, I think Rob said it earlier, that they should have just put the focus on Iki not putting himself before others. If if they wanted to double down on Iki being like self-sacrificing for the sake of others, like if he sees somebody in trouble, he just can't ignore it, or giving up his that actually ended up not being the case though, huh? I was gonna say giving up his dream to support his family, but that's literally not actually what happened. He was mind wiped out of caring about soccer.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Definitely damages the core of his character, but that's okay. If they had doubled down on him being like self-sacrificing or like refusing to put himself first or always going out of his way to his own detriment to help others, I think that could have been a strong core for his character. But what we got is just sort of muddled and like unfocused.
That's the word, I think.
Have they done much with Vice being Iki's inner demon to relate to his character? No, actually, now that you mention it. They did. I don't know if they ever actually very clearly in concrete terms stated. I mean, yes, Vice is part of Iki, but unlike the way that they've clearly defined that, like Kagero is Daiji's resentment and love is Sakura's weakness, there isn't a like specific like. There's not a single sentence you can say Vice is Iki's this, whatever. Vice is like Iki's sense of self-preservation, maybe? But that's just me sort of extrapolating.
Yeah.
Like, there is no... Like, they've clearly defined what love and Kagero are, but Vice is just sort of there, and it really muddles with the whole, like, that he's been there the whole time kind of stuff. It's like... But they never really used Vice to extrapolate anything about Iki's character, or like, because Iki barely has a character, as we've just discussed, and they never really actually broke. Like, do you remember really back early on when we were like, surely it's gonna come around, like when the characters start to realize that their inner demon represents, like, the inner demon is your inner demon, like it is your repressed desires or whatever, that Vice's, the initial times that Vice was released, and his immediate desire to kill members of Iki's family would result in, like, the character having to acknowledge that he has latent resentment for his family. But I guess at that time we were going to the assumption that Iki gave up his dreams in support of his family, and that's why he resents them. But either that was never the case, or it got rewritten at some point. Which is, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, might be the case. Because that seemed like a pretty strong indication of where that was going. And he tried to kill his mom. Like Vice tricked him into letting him out so he could try to murder a member of his family. Like, yeah. But I guess...
That's quite like a direct thing, right?
That was like textually what happened. Vice intentionally tricked Iki into letting him out under the pretense that he would help him fight the Deadmans, so that he could try to murder his mother.
She's really fucked up when you say it back.
Yeah, and he attacked. Didn't he attack someone else? Did he attack Daiji or something?
I don't
really
remember.
I've
never seen those episodes. I didn't.
But
I didn't start watching until a few weeks in.
Right, that's right. But yeah, it's possible that they rolled back on that because maybe because they ended up giving something too similar to Kagero, or they just decided that they needed to roll back on that because it was too dark, or the show just ended up going in a different direction. I don't know. That does seem to be a rewrite or a retcon of some kind, and is ultimately at this point completely irrelevant to the narrative, since everybody's forgiven Vice for that. And we had there was like 2 times over where we had the arc of like Vice and Iki learning to just like unconditionally trust each other. So at this point the matter is settled, even if it never got resolved.
Yeah.
But was Vice hard selling the other way so Iki wouldn't remember? I don't know. Killing your mom is kind of maybe a little too hard of a sell.
That's quite an aggressive tactic.
That's a pretty hard sell, and it must have been a retcon because like Vice's later reveal that he's like been with Iki the whole time, and he's always been it's always been like he's always been on his side, like he's always been supporting him and stuff since the fire and everything. That doesn't mesh with him lying, trying to manipulate Iki so that he can eat people. So I have to assume that somewhere along the line, that concept was dropped and rewritten. The whole soccer theme felt like nothing. Yeah, and I guess the soccer thing was very, like quickly drawn up. Maybe that's why that arc felt so like. Maybe that's why Iki's like us finally figuring out what Iki's deal is. Why that took so long and why the 2-parter was so kind of lame and unsatisfying is because they had to think of it basically on the fly while trying to construct the overarching plot and do a bunch of other character stuff. They also had to rewrite Iki's backstory and figure out a way to make Vice fit in that and blah 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 and everything. So maybe that's why that 2-parter turned out the way it did and came as late as it did, because it was like all they could think of, or like all they could manage. Feels like Vice represents Iki's desire to protect his family now. That's a good way to look at it. But the other thing about it is just that, like, Vice is too much of his own character to be a representation of any like theme or like trait of another character at this point.
Yeah, compared to how one note the others were.
Love is pretty one note, even in like the scenes that she got recently where she actually was like talking and shit.
Yeah,
she was pretty much one note, and just as a point to like push Sakura's character ahead, which is fine because she's an auxiliary character anyway. And Kagero is essentially the same thing.
But Vice has always been the second main character.
Vice is in fact a main character, so he's more than just he can't be like that one-sided to be just like a representation of something in Iki. And I think you just have to take that as a concession of
it being revised.
That's how this show works. I mean, there's been some fumbles. Like, the show isn't perfect, obviously.
But none of them are.
Build is.
Build is mostly.
Forza was perfect.
Okay, I'll take that.
I think we should get out of here. I think we should leave now.
I think we should
leave. I got shit to do, actually.
Get out.
Get out.
I gotta take Voss to the train station tomorrow.
Are you gonna see Dick McButt?
Oh, no, we're dead too early. But it is that train station. The legendary.
The one and only.
It's not that platform.
I like I've got shit to do, and you're like, I got shit to do like tomorrow. It's like the fucking.
I got shit to do next week.
I got shit to do like next week. You're like literally the exact same as the fucking air Contra bit.
Yeah.
I got shit to do like tomorrow. Like.
Donk.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming. I'm gonna read you guys over to Mocha, who's I think doing some ASMR as per usual.
You are quite right.
And I will see you guys tomorrow for Zero Escape. Yes. God damn.
Goku's busy.
Bye everybody.
Bye.